Were you live?
Yep.
Hi everyone, this is Jennifer Stay with Coloring Bliss and welcome to our weekly live event. I am so glad to be with you guys. We missed you last week and I'm glad to be back, and we are working with watercolor brush pens. I am coloring a blue squirrel. This is the blue squirrel I'm working right now here inside my custom coloring book. If you're interested in building a custom coloring book, come on over to our website, coloringbliss.com. Steve built this for me. It's a book all full of animals, and inside here there is like spring, Easter, Christmas, and a Thanksgiving squirrel that says gratitude on it. So I was in the mood to make him blue. We decided blue. I was trying to make him brown, but I didn't like the browns I was seeing, so we went for blue with purple. And his cheeks, I'm thinking, might end up being pinky purpley cheeks. We'll see.
I'm going to move this up a little bit.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, we have been having technical difficulties with some of our tech over the last couple weeks, and we still haven't resolved them, so we're kind of limping with our filming supplies here. So Steve's my cameraman, and we're doing our best today, and we had a lot of technical difficulties over on Facebook, but hopefully we have them all ironed out and it's going to work beautifully here on YouTube. So hopefully everything will go just smoothly and we're going to have a lot of fun finish coloring up our cute little squirrel here. So what I've done so far is color up his head with the blue, and we've been talking about some of the problems with watercolor brush pens. There are good things about them, and then there are some frustrating issues with watercolor brush pens. I have 3 different brands that I've been playing with over the last couple weeks, and I have been having some really good success with coloring and been learning a lot of good tricks, and the viewers, our followers, have been giving me their tips. I know a lot of you have these tools, so I'd love for you to comment below. Tell me the kinds of things, the success and the things you've been learning with your watercolor brush pens. And it looks like we're going to have another special...
She's going to be jealous.
Yeah, we have a special guest here. Let's bring him in.
Here you go, Mishka. There you go.
He's back. We'll see if he stays.
Remember right here
Yeah,
how nice it is?
don't lick the paint.
Remember how nice he doesn't want to be?
Okay.
No, not this week.
Not this week. We tried. That's Mishka, my cat. We had to take both of them to the vet this last week. Aw, she's all mine. Mine. Oh, did you hear that sigh?
No.
That was such a big sigh. Yes, it's your spot. Yes. We'll see how long she stays. Anyway, so welcome. We are here for another beautiful coloring hour. And I'm so very grateful. Yes, I wanted to mention we will be here next week. Next week is Thanksgiving week, and we do plan on doing a live event Wednesday, which is the day before Thanksgiving. We celebrate Thanksgiving here in the United States, and we are going to be streaming live, so you can join us next week. I haven't been able to do any new art for you because of the technical difficulties we're having with my iPad. I'm hoping we get the iPad mended and I'll be able to create some new art for you by this next live event. That's my hope. We're working on it. It's down there thinking through its life. It's in timeout. So hopefully it will be working. In the meantime, I do have some limited time downloads for those of you who are my free members. Let's see, I've got 2 things for you. This one here, which is normally just for my premium members. I've got this one, it's Jump Into Fall. This would be a really good one for if you have like a tool that you've been wanting to practice, like maybe watercolor brush pens. This would be a really good one to download and practice. You could practice a different way of coloring every leaf. You know, maybe this one was different colors of oranges and this one with different greens, and I'm going to try blending it this way and and blending it that way, and I'm going to try the, you know, the trick I heard about using water here, and I'm going to try the trick of touching the tips of the pens together this way, and this is a really good one for practicing skill. Or maybe your alcohol markers, you could practice with this one. Anyway, or just color it and have fun. You don't have to use it as some sort of practicing either. So anyway, come download this one. Limited time only for all my free members. Come and get it. And then we also have this one here, which is actually a 5-page download. It's a banner. Really a fun project to do, like if you want to do it on Thanksgiving Day while the turkey is cooking and you're waiting and you want to make a decoration with the kids or grandkids or nieces and nephews or whatever. It's a download. It says Give Thanks. Has little flags with a letter for each one. So you can color them all, cut them out, and hang them up and make a fun little decoration for your house for Thanksgiving. So 2 fun free downloads to come and get. So,
which, by the way, Adriana pointed out that if you print a few extra of the extra pages, you can spell out Thanksgiving as well with this.
Oh, you're right. I'm all thinking through the letters. Yeah, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought of that. Thank you. Who was that? Adriana?
Yeah.
Thank you, Adriana. Oh, that's some good spelling there. Were you a spelling bee girl when you hadn't even thought of that?
Dorothy says that she has Arteza. They blend nicely, but some of the brushes are a little frayed.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I guess that would be one thing to discuss, is how are you feeling about the quality of your brush tips? That's the difference between these versus like a Tombow. The Tombow is more of a felt tip, but they're both a water-based pigment type coloring product that comes out. We were discussing how with Tombow, let me show you. You can't lick my arm. She likes licking my arm. The reason I'm not letting her today is because I have a little bit of medicine on my aching arm and we don't want you licking it. So would you like to get down? You want to shake? Oh. Here you go, Daddy. Don't want her licking my arm. She's just so busy. Will you flip the camera view, and I want to do the demonstration again of one of the things that's frustrating me about all the brush pens. It doesn't really matter what brand. And I think it has more to do with, let me just make sure, yeah. It has more to do with the bristle tip and the fact that you have this chamber of liquid. I did it right this time. I was saying chamber of secrets, which on these ones, it's like a chamber of secrets. You don't really know when you're going to run out of ink on these ones. I love that the Jane Davenport, you can see full well when you're going to run out of ink. So I like that. Anyway, the other thing I like about the Jane Davenports is it works more like a water brush, and you can squeeze it and get a kind of a burst of paint coming to your bristles. I love that. Have been using that a lot as I've been using these ones. So if you're kind of on the fence, do I want to buy this set or this set or this set? These are just some things to keep in mind. So one thing that has been frustrating me about all 3 kinds that I have is the fact that when you pull quickly, you get like this streaky look. And I think it has to do with the fact that the bristle tips aren't, like, to feed that much liquid to the bristle tips, it just can't keep up. And you get sort of this, this streaky look. And all the brands do it. It's just sort of seems to be the nature of this kind of tool. It's not like a fault or anything. It just seems to be the tool. And the reason it frustrated me at the beginning is because I have like these Tombows, and you can do that same speed of stroke and you get a beautiful streak of color. And even like my Crazy Art, Cheapo Crazy Art, which is also a water-based ink, it will produce a beautiful piece of color, but these will just do these streaky. So that's one thing that is frustrating. So just be aware of that. Now, if you slow down and go really slow, you can get a really nice solid line. And I think, again, that's because it takes a longer time to feed that liquid into those bristles. And it's just the nature of this tool. So you need to slow down with this tool. Just keep that in mind. And it's just the true with all of them. It doesn't really matter which brand, all of them, you just have to slow down. Okay.
Aspie Wisdom says, my Staedtler Mars Graphic brush pens blend really well, especially with tip-to-tip method.
Yeah, oh, cool. The tip-to-tip I haven't done too much. What I have been doing is what I was demonstrating here on my little squirrel, and that's putting a puddle of the deeper color onto a little plate, and then picking it up with the lighter color, which I colored the whole top of his head with this light blue. And then I've been picking up the dark purple and coming in and creating the deeper shades that way, which I have loved this technique. And I think two reasons why. Two or one reason? I love it because it sort of mixes the color, the original base color, and you get the deep shadow, and it blends out just lovely, and it gets rid of a whole bunch of those streaks that happen as you're coloring. You can still see some of those streaks up there, which I want to address and get rid of.
I don't know if you have enough experience yet to weigh in on this, but Janelle said, Steve, will you please ask Jen to tell us her thoughts on the newish watercolor markers? Does she recommend a certain brand?
My thoughts on, say that again, I'm sorry.
Basically on these pens, what do you think of the colorants, and is there any one brand of these three that you would recommend over another?
If money was not an option, not object. If you had all the money in the world, right now I would recommend the Jane Davenports over all of them. Because I am loving the fact that you can squeeze, like, let me show you. As you're painting, let's say you're painting an area and coloring this area, and you're like, this is just going so slow. You can give a gentle squeeze and it will force a little bubble of paint down into the bristles. You got to be careful though, because I've over squeezed and had, there you can see that bubble come down, and then all of a sudden you can start and turn up the volume and get a whole bunch done really quickly. You can't do that with any of these other ones. There's no place to push. You're just stuck with whatever flow comes. I am loving that. I love the fact that you can see the status of your paint. So like here, I have no idea. Am I getting to the end? Am I going to commit to a pink squirrel and halfway through my squirrel run out of ink? I have no idea. Here I know, wow, I've got tons of ink. I could paint an entire squirrel pink and be just fine for days and be good. So I'm loving that about this. I know, I'm pretty sure, maybe someone can check, but I'm pretty sure you can get refills on the Jane Davenports as well, which is fantastic. So right now, if I'm leaning towards the Jane Davenports as a win between these three sets. The Castle Art Supply set, it comes with a water brush. That's pretty cool. I think that's a win for the Castle Arts. The Castle Arts don't have any name labeling on them. That's but I'm going to just number them with my paint pen, and that will solve that problem. But, I wish all supplies had names on them. That's a lame-o for the Castle Art supplies. Now, Color It, like always, they win it with packaging. Color It has amazing packaging. They always do with every single kind of product they put out. Check out that wallet. That is pretty amazing. Color It just kills it with packaging. Plus, I know they have refills for every single one. Although when I was checking it out, the refills seemed really pricey to me. But that's, I think you could probably refill a ton of times. So if you use these a lot, then maybe the refills would be worth it. Just like, you know, everything else. Copics are the same way. Refills are really expensive. So, but the case is stellar. They always really kill it with the cases. But, yeah. The inks, you know, to me, that's where it's at. The inks, how do they perform? They're performing about the same as the Castle Art so far. So that's my opinion for you so far. If you had all the money in the world, I'd tell you to go buy an array of Jane Davenports, because these have been really fun so far. And they even have glittery ones, which I love a good glitter.
Adriana says Amazon had the set of 12 Jane Davenport pens for only $10.
Holy cow, that's a good deal. Everyone should go buy that. That's less than a buck per. I'm telling everybody, Merry Christmas. Go buy those 12 Jane Davenports. I should go buy a second set for me.
Lynn said, do you like markers or watercolored pencils better? That's a hard question. I think it depends on what you're doing, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Who's back? Rosie decided that maybe she did want to sit there after all. She keeps changing her mind.
Yeah. Watercolor pencils versus these. If I had to pick, I think I'd take the watercolor pencils. Yeah.
A little more control.
And more diversity in the way to use them. Because you could go in and do your watercolor brush effects and everything, and then come back again at the end and do dry to do shading and line work and everything. And yeah, you can use those two different ways, where these you're like kind of stuck, just wet. Okay, let's make this paw purple. I want a purple paw, not a pink paw. Okay. So again, with watercolor, typically you start with your light color and then you build up on top of it. So I started with pink because I kind of want it to glow with a nice bright color on the underside. And so I started with the pink, and now I'm going to come in with the purple on top. I want to try this tip to tip thing. So you can use a water brush with these, and I want to try that too. Oh, we were going to try that right away. Someone wanted me to do that right away. Pink paw's going to have to wait.
Providence Valley Farm says, do you have any recommendation for pens with built-up handles? Gripping is very hard, and my hubby made gel grips, but I saw gel pens with big barrels somewhere. Can you think of any?
Not right off. You can buy the, like at Dollar Tree, you can buy pen grips like kids have for their pencils, and just buy a whole bunch of them and stick them on your gel pens. That's what I would recommend. So, does that help? I hope that helped. Will you switch camera view so they can see what I'm about to do here? Okay, I've got my water brush that came with the Castle Art Supply. It's actually a really good little water brush. Okay, so I'm kind of forcing a little water into the bristles, so I make sure that the bristles are nice and wet. And now what I'm hoping is, can I use this wet to help, we'll see, to help blend out some of the streaks here. We'll see, I don't know. This will have to do with the makeup of the ink. Is the ink permanent? So once it dries, it's set and done? Or is the ink the kind of ink that you can re-wet it and rework it? Not all watercolor is created equally, and I'm not the one to educate you on all of that. I only know a little bit about all of that. All I know is that some are permanent and some are not. Look, we're kind of making him look bald right there.
Oh wow, yeah, this I did find a 12 piece of the Jane Davenport mermaid markers, right? That's those.
Yeah.
For $10.30.
Whoa, that is a stellar deal. I don't know why I'm using the word stellar. Okay, now I'm going to pick up with the water and try this method. and try to blend it out this way now. When I first started coloring, I had decided I wanted to collect all things water-based and avoid all alcohol marker stuff. So my collection quickly grew all water-based items first. Water-based markers, water-based pencils, everything water-based. And then I moved and grew the other way. Well, now he's got kind of a bit of a bald spot. So I think what happened is the purple isn't moving. The purple is more permanent than the blue. I think that's what happened.
Lynn asked, were you nervous the first time using watercolors? I have the pencils and the water brush, but I'm so scared of messing up.
Yes. Watercolor is very intimidating. And I think that comes to where a lot of watercolor art being done online is being done by really, really good artists. And you watch those YouTube artists and they're like, holy cow, really good, right? And it's like, I can't do that. So yeah, I was scared. And I think I've told that story before of when I bought my really nice paints and then I never used them for the longest time because I was too scared, and then I finally just made myself. So yeah, it's scary. I would recommend getting yourself a pad of watercolor paper that's kind of inexpensive, maybe a Canson brand watercolor paper that you don't care too much about, and just dive in. Our poor little guy. My experiment has left him with a bald spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to let him dry, totally bone dry, and then we're going to come back and we're going to fix him. Half the thing of as you become better and better with art is learning how to fix problems. So this doesn't scare me. I do feel sad for him, but it doesn't frighten me. What it means is I need to let this dry, and then we're going to come back and we're going to fix it. So I'm not like upset or afraid or feel like throwing out or anything like that. It just means he needs a minute. He needs to dry, and then we'll come back and we'll fix him. So
Adriana says, I think on your mixed media paper it won't smooth out. It would work on watercolor paper.
Exactly. And let me show you that right now. And this is what's the magic word, Steve?
Sizing.
So what is sizing, Steve?
It is some kind of is it a chemical?
Check it out.
A chemical that they put on the paper that keeps it from soaking in or something? Or?
Yep. And this is Colorette's paper. So this isn't even the best watercolor paper in the whole wide world, but check it out. This is the difference. So if you take, and here's our... here's some streaky streaks, right? And come in now.
Amy says he needs a toupee.
Yeah. We could put butterflies on his head.
And Carol says give him bushy eyebrows.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll fix him. I'm not worried.
No, go with the bald spot.
Yeah. And then so you could come in with water. Sizing, basically what it's happening is watercolor paper is awesome because it's thick. It's pressed, and then they sometimes they just spray the sizing on it, and then sometimes they actually impregnate all of the fibers with that chemical that Steve's talking about. Sometimes it's a gelatin, sometimes it's a chemical, and that makes it so that you can do this kind of thing. I can literally drop water onto a paper that has been sized, and you'll see the water just bead up and bubble onto your paper, and then you can start doing all of this, and it doesn't damage the paper. If I did that exact same thing to this paper, dropped drops of water, which I'm not going to do, and then started rubbing on it, you guys know exactly what would happen. You would start pilling up, and you'd get maybe even a tear in your paper, and horrible things would happen, right? horrible things. And that's because this paper has not been treated and sized and made for watercolor. This is a different kind of paper. This paper has been made to go through printers, and this is just a different creature. So, yeah, there's a reason why you go and buy specific watercolor paper, and there's reasons. When you go down to an art store, there's an entire lane made just for paper. It's because there are different papers for different things, and there really are reasons for each of those different kinds of paper. So, but we try this on purpose because sometimes you'll try this and be like, holy cow, that worked and it was amazing. And then other times you're just like, yeah, that wasn't great. You know, yeah, we got rid of our streaks, but we also have a bald spot on our... So yeah, it got rid of our streaks, but yeah, we also have a problem, but we'll fix it. I'm not worried. So anyway, now you know the difference between your paper and watercolor paper.
And this kind of goes along with that. Crystal...
Oh, I was going to do tip to tip.
Said that she bought a book, is waiting for it to come in the mail. She's wondering, could I pick the mixed media paper, and will that work for water paints too?
Very gently, yes, it will. This paper here is really thick. Is it our book she bought?
Yeah.
This mixed media paper here is super thick, and it will stand up. This is standing up really well to this wet media. But like I said, if I were to take and drip water on it and do like full-on watercolor methods to this paper, it would die. It's just not meant for it. It's just not meant for it. So it would die a horrible death. So yeah, but what I'm doing right now, it would work just fine for, you can treat paper like this with like a transparent ground or a transparent gesso, and then you can go to town on it. So that's another option that you have, which is another discussion for another day.
Aspie Wisdom asked, what fixative do you recommend for watercolor?
Fixatives are a huge discussion. My fixative that I have is just in a spray can. I believe it's by Krylon. Is it Krylon? Will you grab it, Steve? I think you can buy it at even Walmart. Sells it in their art and craft area now. But fixatives are kind of... There's so many. I'm trying the tip-to-tip method. I'm loading the pink brush with the purple paint, and then coming in like this. And I think I'm having pretty much the same experience as I was working off the palette. Okay, this is the workable fixative that I've been using. I think it's cheaper now than it used to be. This can I've had for like 4 years now. It's workable, which means it's not like the final fixative that you would spray, and it leaves a bit of a texture to your paper. So if you're using pencils or pastels or chalk, you can keep layering the next layer of those dry products onto it. And it's archival safe, so that's great if you're working with a product that you're hoping is going to last for the decades, for the next generation. This is a good little product. Yeah, so, but don't spray it indoors. It will make your family mad. Spray it outside. Plus, it's really bad for you. Don't spray it indoors.
And so. Jail Color says, when I used fixative on watercolor, it made the watercolors reactivate. Oh. So I do not suggest.
Yeah, maybe do a test piece first. Some fixatives, like I've heard if you use like a varnish type fixative, it will change the tone of your paints too. Make them look, you know, like when you lay wet paint down, it looks one color, and then as it dries, it changes. We've talked about that today. Different kinds of fixatives and finishes will do that same thing. So I'm sorry you had that experience.
Susan says, if you touch a loaded water brush with blue and go lightly over the blue, it gets streaks out.
Ah, we could try that up there in our bald spot. Thank you for the suggestion. A loaded water brush, okay. So I want this to have the overall feeling of being purple, not pink. So I'm going to load...
Hannah asked, what's the cheapest, best watercolor you have used or recommended?
I'm going to refer you to the Frugal Crafter. Go watch her YouTube channel for really good watercolor recommendations. She is my guru for watercolor. On her recommendation, I have purchased that one set. It's like a fan shape, and I love that set. On her recommendation, I've bought the Winsor Newton Cotman paints, and I've enjoyed those. They're pretty inexpensive. Oh, by the way, they were on sale at Blick. We were at Blick today, and I noticed those were on sale. She also really likes the Jane Davenport paints, but she also has even cheaper than that recommendations. So I would recommend going to her channel and seeing what she recommends. Okay, I'm liking that. That looks really fuzzy and glowy. That's what I was going for, was kind of a glowish, fuzzy look. I like that. And I'm thinking we might be able to bring that up into the head. Okay. Ooh, I like that. Okay. Let's see if we take now, I'm going to be brave. And I want to take, so you were saying you take a wet brush. Okay, I'm going to make sure all that weird color I was just using is out of it. Okay, wet brush, she said. Okay, make sure there's water in that brush. And we're going to load it with pink. Yes, you heard right. We're going to load it with pink and go onto the bald spot with pink. Okay. Pink and this pinky purple.
By the way, Deanna says, love your nails, Jen.
Oh, thank you. I'm having fun with these fingernails. At first I felt like they were kind of grandma-ish. I don't know why they make me feel grandma-ish. Okay, here we go. Interesting. I was thinking if we make the... Uh-oh. It's doing weird things. It's looking more and more like we might be drawing in eyebrows to cover my experiment zone. That's all right. We're learning. We're experimenting and learning here. I don't mind.
Curtis is our mad scientist.
Okay. Yeah, that was an interesting... All right, that's okay. We'll let that sit and dry now, and we'll come back to that.
That's looking very
interesting, Jennifer. We really like your coloring, Jennifer. Okay, now we're going to go in, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to try to use the streakiness now to my benefit. On purpose.
Trish asked, does the squirrel have a migraine?
If I can't correct this, I keep promising you I'm going to fix this. If I can't, I'm going to be the one with the migraine. Okay, so what we're going to do here is try to use the brush to our advantage now. We have this tool with bristles, right? So let's use it. I know I'm going to want under the eye to be solid. It's going to be shadowed, so we can go slow and steady under there and then pull and get some nice like fur strokes. Let's go for a fur look. Okay, that's looking good.
Victoria says, hey, it's a pink highlight.
Like maybe there's a sunset. Oh no, it just looks wrong. We're gonna fix it. Don't give up on me yet, folks. Okay.
I'm gonna see what you mean. How it kind of.
If you go too
splotchy or
fast,
something.
see, even on this really smooth paper, if this was Tombow or even Crazy Art cheapo marker, it would not be streaking like this. But like I said, this is fur now, fluffy fur, right? So let's use it. We know the attributes of this tool, so let's use it. Okay. We're going to do the same treatment in the tail.
Yeah, that's kind of cute.
This is just layer 1.
Are you going to try a color it or Jane Davenport in the tail?
No. I was going to use those in the...
Ah,
Yeah.
oh, that's right, because his tail's going to be pink.
Yeah, we got to match the... So we're going to go really fast here on purpose to get that streak on purpose.
You got all kinds of ideas about what that is. Looks like he has a big bruise. It looks like he has a pink Band-Aid on his head. Sammy says, I think it looks nice.
Aw, thank you.
Age spots, always he ran into a branch.
Oh, dear. Well, if all else fails, you guys know you can just go over the whole thing with your darkest color and call it good.
Now, Trish is asking, would you use marker paper with those water pens?
Sure.
This is the mixed media, but yeah, the marker paper would probably work really well, right? Because
Yep.
it's so smooth.
Yep. I haven't tried it yet, though.
I wonder if it would blend better on it because it is a smoother paper than this.
Possibly. I haven't tried it, so I can't. I don't
Maybe we'll
want
have to get some and try it.
We have some in the cupboard right behind me. Okay.
Maybe the acorn fell on his head and left a bruise.
And he's got gratitude that he's still alive. Okay.
And Lana said, try to shade in your pink highlight with your blue and purple.
Is this my pink highlight? Are we calling this a pink highlight now?
Yeah. And Jerry says, I love how you did the paw. I have complete faith in you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Carol says he's cute. Victoria says he could be blushing.
Yeah. Oh, cute. Oh, that's not the cap for that. That's the cap over here. Let's get that cap out of here. Okay, now the ear is bugging me that I didn't put any... If I don't color this blue, I might accidentally stray from my plan here. Yes, there is a plan.
Lynn asked, how many times can you layer with watercolors?
It probably depends on your paper. When I was doing my fox that I showed at the beginning, were you here, Lynn, at the beginning? I noticed it seemed to be at some point the paper just sort of, and I'm kind of getting that feeling right here. And it's all warped. The paper's like, give me a break. The paper's all warped here, and it's starting to soak through. I don't know if you can see here. It's starting to soak through. The paper is just coming to the end. That's why we're letting it sit here.
Michelle says it's his chamber of secrets.
Yeah. So we're letting the paper just do its thing here now and dry up. We might bring out the heat gun to speed up this process here to let the poor head dry. But yeah, it depends on your paper. If you're working on watercolor paper, you've got tons of layering and possibilities, right? Because you've got thick fibers, you've got sizing on your side, you've got all kinds of possibilities. But here on this paper, this is really good high quality paper, but it's still just paper. It's not special watercolor paper. So,
by the way, Adriana says actually my Tombow markers work better on the mixed media than the marker paper.
Interesting. See, that's why I didn't want to commit and tell everybody, yes, run out and get your marker paper going. Okay, now I've loaded up my same pink marker with the purple that we did the paw with, and I'm going to add more streaks now here and get our purple going into the hair.
Trish says, I love his fluffy face. That worked great.
That's so good. And on purpose, I don't want to cover every single white spot with watercolor. When you watch the professionals, the masters, they on purpose leave white all the time. So I've had to like retrain myself to not go after every white spot when I'm using watercolors. So I really challenge you to try to do the same thing. Don't go after every single white.
Ollie asked, where's your blotter page?
No kidding, you're right. Hopefully I don't regret
Janelle was
that.
about to recommend your heat gun.
Thank you. I'm going to need it for that head. Everything else is drying really fast, but that head is sad. And I'm going to build up my purple because, like I said, I want a shadow under the eye. So we can use this same technique we used up above the eye. We're going to use right here under the eye, blend it out, and get a nice shadow under the eye. Like, oh, it reminds me of Mishka's fur. If you have a pet, I highly recommend you spend some quality time with your pet and look really deep into their fur. And really study, do some color. This is your homework. Do some color study of their fur because it will help you be better at coloring fur. So if you don't have a pet, time to go find a neighbor's pet and look deep into the different tones and how the colors work. Where do the colors bunch up? Like, oh, it's so fascinating and you'll learn a lot.
Dennis says he uses the large panel of cereal boxes between pages.
Good idea. And very good for the environment.
Jennifer says the purple pink color really adds depth.
Yeah.
And Lona thinks that he tried dyeing his little spike of hair on the top of his head and dyed his forehead instead.
He slipped. It spilled. He did it in his mom's kitchen.
But they like how it's going.
Yeah. Don't ever give up, especially when you're only on like step 2, right?
Trish says that regarding the pets, I thought she was going to say look deep into their eyes.
That too. That's a little scary, especially with a cat. Have you ever looked deep into your cat's eyes? It's a little scary. They want to kill you. They do. Cats are scary. And dogs just look at you like, I love you, I love you, I love you. Cats, they look at you like, how I can kill you 10 different ways if I wanted to. Have you ever noticed that?
Sometimes, well, our cat Mishka, he's so sweet. But yeah. He can look pretty intimidating sometimes, when he looks at you like that.
He's just like...
It can be a little intimidating.
Where's my food? And you better feed me or don't go to sleep tonight. Well, I think partly because he's so big. That's why he looks so intimidating. Okay, I like that. See how dark this is right here? Because this is so wet. That was how dark that was. This is what I'm talking about, how much lighter things dry. So you really have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and fix things as you go. So don't be afraid. Like if you lay something down and go, ooh, I did that really too dark. Don't be afraid because, 5 minutes from now, you may look back and go, what? I didn't build that up nearly dark enough. And then you may have to go back and keep going. So Don't be afraid.
Sonia left you a nice comment. Says, I just wanted to thank you for being my coloring hero. Your coloring has inspired me to try new things, and it also takes my mind off such a bad year.
Oh, I'm so glad. We were at our doctor's office today, and we were talking about all the different treatments and, you know, the whole, how's this going? What's your pain level? Blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden she stops and she says, so what are you doing for pain management? What do you do to distract yourself? This is a new doctor. So we told her about art and how we use coloring and art to distract from pain. And, oh, that's nice, she says. And I was like, it's so true. We've been doing this for years, and so it was fun to get to share with her about our community and how we do this together, and how it's not, for me, it's not just my own art that distracts me from my pain. It's doing this with you guys. This whole, like tonight, it's very distracting. I was in a lot of pain when we started and not doing well at all, and you guys helped me, so thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay, look how good it's looking. Oh my goodness, it's so cute. It's so cute. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do. Okay, so I would do the same thing out into the tail, but I feel like we're going to run out of time. So, darn it, I hate it. I hate this part. I was telling Steve what I don't like about our live events, is that I always feel rushed. And so I feel like I never get to do a complete piece for you guys, and it bugs me. Okay, what we're going to do is the blue now from his face. So this is the third color we're going to build into his cheeks now. And it's going to bring in cohesive feeling. So take the same pink again, and we're going to bring the blue now from his face into the cheeks. Not a lot, but enough that the cheeks feel like they belong on the same critter. Don't cover all your whites. You'll regret it. It's really tempting to go cover up all those whites because we work so hard, don't we, you guys? We work so hard to cover all those whites, especially when you're doing like color pencil art. Man, do we work hard to get rid of all that white. But with watercolor, just pull yourself back. Don't cover all that white. Wait till the end and then decide if you needed to get rid of all that white or not. Hold off till the very end, because you may be like, look how cute that white looks. And I didn't have to go back and add white gel pen or anything. It's just a natural highlight that happened because I was a good girl and I left my whites like the masters taught me. Okay, let's add a little bit more blue so it feels cohesive with the head. Oh my goodness, I am loving this. Loving it, loving it. Oh my goodness. Steve, are you in love with my little chipmunk cheeks? Look how cute.
Oh, it's really cute.
Loving. Okay, I want to build a little bit more of the blue out on the tips. Now, the trick of making something feel shaped is to put a little dark on the edge. As something curves away, it gets a shadow on the edge.
So, we have several others here. Crystal, Trish, Lynn, and others who are saying, yeah, talking about how therapeutic coloring is for pain management.
So good. And then to have our community doing it together, I think is so great, especially where a lot of us don't get out a lot. I mean, there will be weeks where I don't leave the house for a couple weeks straight, and you guys are my life outside of the house, literally. And how healthy is that to have you guys, that we can do that for each other? That is so amazing. Okay. Deepening up around the edges with just what's left on my palette. Like I said, a little bit of dark on the edge to give it that shape is really a nice trick. And remember, it feels shocking and dark, but don't forget it's going to dry just a little bit lighter, so don't panic.
Yeah, Kelly says, I know I should leave white spots, but it's so hard for some reason.
It is, but look how satisfying. And you can always go back and put more on, so it's worth taking a minute now, leaving them now, so that you can come back. Okay, this forehead is sad. What time is it? Do we have time to fix the forehead? I promised them I would fix the forehead. We can't walk away without fixing the forehead. It's still a little bit wet. We're going to hit it with the the heat gun. I'm going to dry it from behind as well. Okay, make sure it's really good and dry, and then we're going to try to fix it.
Victoria said, speaking of leaving whites, do you have any opinions or recommendations for masking fluid?
Ah, we were looking at that at
Just today, huh?
Dick Blick. I don't have... Okay, I follow another artist named Partridge, Chrissy Partridge? Is that her name? And she just found a new masking fluid that's in a pen form. And I want to buy it so bad. It's a little on the pricey side, so I'm going to wait for Christmas. I'm already building my Christmas wish list. But it's in pen form, so it's so much easier. I've seen her use it on 2 pieces now on her YouTube channel, and it looks amazing. Okay, that's still just a little bit wet on the back, so I'm going to hit it one more time. So it looks so good. So you don't have to use a brush to apply the masking fluid, which is the kind I have. And that's the reason why I haven't used much masking fluid, because I don't want to muck up my brushes with that nasty masking fluid. But this stuff's in a pen form, and she says it works fantastic, and you don't have to muck up your brushes, and you can just apply it like, because you're holding it like a pen, and she loves it. So that's on my wish list for Christmas. Okay, the other thing she uses for preserving her white highlights with watercolor is the white Caran d'Ache color pencil, which I thought was a great idea. I haven't tried it yet, but I thought it was a great idea. Okay, now that feels drier. Okay, first thing I'm going to do to try to save our little guy is, I keep trying to do this. Okay. First thing we're going to do is wash over it with the base color to try to bring back the blue that it was supposed to be in the beginning. I'm going to do it kind of light and see if we can start the healing process of his head. This is like plastic surgery. Okay. So I'm going to try to... Now, what I want to do is, because we've worked in the... Actually, the base color underneath it is very similar to what's happening down here. So if that could be the highlight, I would be happy with that. And if we could just work in sort of a fur texture over the top, then I think we might be okay. So we're going to just lay that on top and give it a second to dry, because it's going to dry lighter. Okay, give it a second to dry. In the meantime, let's bring out a Jane Davenport and show you why I love it. Let me make sure I grab a good color. That's a color, that's the gouache. I can't wait to show you guys gouache. Okay. Pirate's Gold I've been loving for leaves, and then the full-on brown. These are really good colors for leaves. So the reason I'm loving, like I said, the Jane Davenports is the fact that you can squeeze and get a kind of a boost. So like I know I'm covering an entire area, so I'm going to just gently squeeze and I can see the paint sort of pushing in, and then I'll see a tiny bubble of paint up here at the base of the bristles, and then I know it's loaded into the bristles. So very gently squeeze. Come on. If you're nervous about it dripping, you can put your hand under it. You can put your palette under it to catch it and preserve that paint. And then you can swipe it up and catch it, you know, and keep going with it.
Carla said you could make a bandana with a peace sign.
Oh, that would be way cute. Look, it's starting to look better already.
Kelly says, I always feel braver after being on your channel, Jen.
Oh, good. Okay, now see, we've got lots of paint going.
And Crystal says, I'm getting gouache and can't wait to receive it.
Oh, I am loving the gouache. It's a very different creature. Everything I was watching was like, oh, it's a brother or a sister to watercolor and la 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 la. It's a very different creature than watercolor. And so it's been a learning curve, and I've been loving it. Loving the learning curve.
Creative and Happy says, hey, I love the Molotov masking pen, but you got to be careful.
That's the one.
In regarding the paper. I've had it leave bluish residue on some papers. That's not nice.
No.
I love your picture and coloring, Jennifer.
That was such good feedback. Thank you. That was the one. Okay, now we're mixing. You can mix just like you would with watercolors. So I've got a bit of the brown, and I'm mixing in with that Pirate's Gold here. That's the color. And I'm just going to go in and catch my shadowy areas and build some depth into it. The fun thing when you watch watercolor artists, I always amazed at the number of layers they add. They just, they'll be adding one tone and then they go in with another tone, and it's so fun to watch. But usually they work light to dark. So they'll like do their lightest color first, then they come in with the next tone, and then they build up.
Tayani says, I wish I could make a slide edit to that picture and make it a cat and change the word to catitude.
Oh, that's a really cute idea. That's a cute idea. Okay. I'm liking that. And then if we come in with a nice, maybe a green. How about that? Oh, a darker green. Let's go darker. Is that a good green? Let's see. Oh, that's kind of a bluey green. I want a nice bright green. Okay, let's go in on top. I love, for fall leaves, I love putting green on top of the oranges and the golds and the browns, because you get this feel of green.
Sangita says, I just got here and I'm already mesmerized. It's, excuse me, it's the same way I feel about every one of your videos.
Aww. Thank you.
And Funky Light Tachikawa says, my niece Lexi is watching tonight with me. She is super inspired by you. She's dug out my watercolors and is playing with them.
Oh, fun. Oh, I love just playing with watercolors. And to watch a little kid, I don't know how old Lexi is, but children playing with art supplies is so satisfying because they are so brave. So brave. They don't care about the rules, the light to dark rules, the you can't do this, you must leave white spaces, all those rules, they don't care. They just go for it, and the things they do, it's so satisfying. Look how great that green looks on top of the orange. Have you guys been using green in your autumn leaves? If you're not, you need to. Look how good that looks. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So satisfying.
Carrie says, wait, this isn't a cat?
Well, It's anything you want it to be. It's supposed to be. There's a whole video from, I don't know how many years ago this was, where we drew this live, and I laughed so hard during drawing this. Do you remember that video?
Yeah, the tail seemed to be
oh my
tricky.
goodness. And we had it was a thing. It was a thing, I remember. And okay, this is looking so much better, don't you guys think? Look how much better. Okay, do we want to try deepening this up a little bit more on the sides? Look how much better. One coat. So the trick was let it dry totally. We had to dry it completely. So the fibers of the paper were just, they'd had it, right? They were totally soaked. They wouldn't take any more. In fact, they were almost rejecting any color we were giving it. So we let it dry totally, and now coming back on top with the blue, it's finally taking more of the color again, and we're being able to cover up our wonderful mistake. And all those funny tones we had built up underneath are actually creating a neat highlight now that's sort of a pinkish highlight, which is actually working in our favor. It's kind of now becoming this kind of cohesive feel, so it's actually working in our favor. So yeah, I did all that on purpose.
Yeah.
That was all on purpose. No, it wasn't. That was terrible. But yeah, you guys get the idea.
So Creative and Happy said, Jennifer, do you now prefer watercolors over colored pencils, or is it just the ongoing excitement for that medium?
It's just, I love all art. I just love losing myself in a new art medium. I don't, I think I love all of it. I put any kind of art in my hand, I think I'm going to have fun. So, and I'm getting art. I'm getting stuff on which is just fine. Okay, let's go ahead and paint this guy brown now with that same brown that I mixed into the yellow a second ago. So it's going to have the same tones as our yellow leaf because we mixed that same brown in, right? And we're going to go over that brown now with that same yellow.
Lona asked if on one of your live shows, can you draw with us?
I've been wondering about that. It's been a while since I've done that. This acorn's turning out too brown. We're going to have to fix that, but that's okay. Step 1. Always remind yourself of that. Step 1, people. I've thought about drawing with you guys, but oh wow, that one's really coming out fast. Okay, let's switch over to a water brush. I've thought about it, but it presents some technical problems because I draw on the iPad. When I draw for you guys, I draw on the iPad. So I'm not quite sure how I would stream that. Okay, this is working really good, you guys. I've got my water brush and a puddle of the paint from the Jane Davenports. And it's a mix of that yellow and the brown, mostly brown. Oh, it's just so satisfying. Now I gotta be careful though, because I can feel the paper is starting to get soaked here. Gotta be careful. Okay. A little bit more of the brown though, because we want to blend that line up. Blend it up. Blend it. I'm talking to myself now. Oh, that's better. See, now we've got some balance going here. Okay, I could just keep going. What time is it? Oh, we're way past. Okay, so yeah, I could just keep going. Okay, so that was really fun. I wish I could finish this with you guys, but we just are running out of time. But I think you guys get the idea of the really fun parts of the brush pens, the frustrating parts of the brush pens, the parts that you need to don't give up. Just you can work through problems. I recommend them, but don't expect them to work like other tools. They are their own creature. You got to give them patience, give those strokes time for the ink to, to flow down into the bristles. So don't be frustrated if you can't just, whoo, and a streak of perfect ink comes out. Don't expect that out of these types of tools. There's a spectrum of them out there, everything from really inexpensive to really, really expensive. So, ask around, go into our Facebook group and ask people what they would recommend. There was that really good deal on that set of, was it 10 Jane Davenports?
Yeah.
Or no, it was 12. It was 12 Jane Davenports for only $10. That really is a really good deal. So if you want to try some of those Jane Davenports, that's something I would recommend, is jumping on that Amazon
Somebody
deal.
did point out that it's like $4.38 or something in shipping. It's not in Amazon Prime. So
yeah, I have
it's
to
one of the
pay
ways they're
shipping.
making up their money a little bit. I guess.
Anyway, what I do with Amazon, I think I've mentioned this to you guys before. My strategy with Amazon is I drop items like that and I put them into my cart, and then I just watch them, and then I come on every day and I see if, because prices fluctuate with Amazon, so maybe it will go on sale, especially with Black Friday and Cyber Monday coming up. Maybe some of these things will come on to sale for us. So yeah, I would recommend trying them for fun, because it's definitely worth it, especially if you have other watercolor type products that you can work in harmony with. Something I haven't tried yet, which I want to try, is doing some coloring on my page with water soluble pencils, like watercolor color pencils, and then coming onto it with these and see what happens with that combination. Has anybody tried that yet? I'm really curious to see what the paint in this would do with the pigments from a watercolor pencil, like the Derwent Inktense or something. See what happens with that mix. So there's a lot to play with and a lot to try and do. With all art supplies, you got to be patient with yourself. Don't, like if something goes wrong like it did with his forehead, don't freak out. Give it time. Remember, these things dry different colors, so swatching them out. The whole process of swatching is going to give you time to get used to the tool, see what colors they are after they dry, what do they look like when they're wet. Those kinds of things you'll learn as you swatch. So make sure you swatch them, and then that'll give you time to practice before you dive into an actual coloring page. So
Sammy was worried about what's going on behind that page, the page underneath this one.
The page under this one?
Yeah. I was worried it was bleeding or something.
It tried to bleed through, but it didn't make it. The paper, it held its own, but I should have had a paper underneath it, a blotting page for sure. So the one underneath it is okay. It survived. This one isn't done yet. I need to finish this one. It's turning out cute though. I think I was doing pointillism with this one, it looks like. So I need to finish that one. So let me show you again my fox, because he turned out so cute. Oh, remember I did this one, the background. It's working so good. The water brush pens for backgrounds, it's so great. I did this guy with the water brush pens, my little cat with the scarf. Where did he go? So yeah, get in there. This guy, he was water brush pens. And then I did my fox that I posted last night, I believe, with the water brush pens. Him! And he turned out really good too. So, yeah, they're really fun. Lots of fun. So, yep, that's my knowledge so far. I'll probably, hopefully, do a more in-depth review of each of these brands, where I talk about prices and that kind of thing in the future. And I do have an extra set. Steve, we have an extra set of the Castle Arts to give away. Did you know that?
We do?
We do. So I need to do a separate video where we do a giveaway of these ones. So.
Sure.
But that's for another day, so you guys can look forward to that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell button, and make sure you hit the like button so I know that you enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining me. We will be back next Wednesday, and hopefully we'll have new art if my iPad cooperates. We'll see if it does or not. I'm going to go down and check on it right now. So from Sleepy Rose and from Steve, you didn't get to be in this video.
No, I didn't.
I wanted you to show off. He's doing No Shave November.
I don't know if they can see me.
Get in there. No Shave November.
Yes. No Shave November.
So thanks for joining us, you guys. But now how do we turn off the stream? You're over here.
I'll just walk over.
Okay.
They get to see that part. Behind the scenes kind of thing.
Yes. This is so exciting.
What do you think?
She's finally asleep. Anyway, thanks you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful, colorful, blissful day. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Now you get to go turn it off while I sit here and smile at them. Goodbye.